In this video, we're going to be installing this Garmin Livescope setup on this Bass Tracker Protein 175. This is actually the crappy version, and I'll get into a few more things of that in just in a minute during the video. And right there is how she turned out. So what we got here is the Garmin, it's the Echomap Ultra 2 106 SV. It's the 10-inch screen Livescope Plus system, which is the new LVS 34 transducer. We're gonna get everything out of here first and show you what what we're working with, and then we'll get into the install. It just tells you a little bit right there about it. Let's see. 20-degree beam angle, forward down perspective mode mount it comes with. Black box. LVS 34 transducer. This is just a bundle I got off of I think it's Bass Pro. They had a 10 and a 12-inch version. And yeah, Navionics map, quick draw contours. I guess if you know whatever lake you're on, you could draw out a contour if it's not correct. And yeah. So for tools, I got just a drill, an impact, a fish tape to pull some wires through the hole. We got some vent covers here, like wire vent covers to mount for where we come out with, which I won't need probably but one of them. And these little grommets, these go, I'm putting these right here for these wires I ran for my fish finder here where I drill through, just to make that look more professional. We may or may not need that on any of this up here. Some straps for the battery, like Velcro straps. I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm gonna have to make probably a box to kind of hold the battery down. I'll show you the battery in just a minute. And then we got a cutoff switch here because the black box will drain whatever battery you're using, which is I got a lithium battery. Like I said, I'll show you in a second. Some bolts that come with it. The mount, I got this here. It's a Millennium Marine. That's the mount, single monitor mount. And if you can see there, I'll show it in action here in a second, but it telescopes up and down, tilts from the top, tilts on the bottom. It says it swivels 180, I get two, I guess. You can see some features there. And it's just black anodized aluminum. And I'm gonna mount it up here on the front somewhere. I'm thinking it's probably gonna screw down right here, but we'll get into that in a second. We gotta get some wires and stuff ran. Let me get all this stuff pulled out and see what's in here. So let's see, this little box. It comes with some kind of oh, okay. So it comes with some kind of grommet here. A box inside of a box. All right, so this is the black box that controls all that. I'm gonna see how I wanna mount it. You mount it on the bottom like that with your wires coming out. You don't have to worry about any kind of moisture settling on it, which is probably what I'll do. If I have enough room, I'll make it even mounted up sideways. I don't know, we'll get into that in just a second. And then your transducer, and I guess your mounts for that. It said it came with a perspective mount for it also, so we're probably gonna run that just so I can flip it back and forth. Power cable here, screws and stuff. I'm assuming these screws are for the black box. That's some little bitty screws. The book, I'm gonna go through that too before I get on the install, but I know about how it goes in there, but I need to double check all that. And all right, let's see. So in this box in the top, it's just a cover for your screen, for your mount there. It says Garmin. I'm gonna leave that in there for now. And then your actual screen here. Comes with some other stuff and a flush mount template, which I'm not doing all that, so I don't need any of that stuff. More screws and cable for that. And then the bracket and more wires for all that. We'll see how all this is going to go. Now this is the battery. I chose a lithium battery. A lot of people use the Lifetimes, but they're a little more expensive. So I went with the Power Queen 50 amp hour, which was on sale like 106 compared to like 200 for the Lifetime. But it had some pretty good reviews and stuff, so it should be good. This is what I was talking about. We're gonna have to make some kind of battery box for it to go in where I can strap it down so it's not slinging around on the boat. All right, now let me get into reading this here and see exactly the proper, what they recommend as far as installation and whatnot. Now, when I was talking about this being the crappy version, it's got these little plastic areas, storage areas with cup holders, which is good. I don't like the one on that side being there, so I took the screws out, just gonna pull it up. Come to find out, right here in the corner, the plywood decking under here is not like fit up nice and flush, so I didn't like the way it looked, so I just put it back on. Only thing is, for fitting my rods, I just have to have a couple up here and a couple slid back right there for my reels. No big deal. So like the 175 TXW, it has, like this is a live well, and then there's also one in the back there. I won't never use two of them really, but the TXW has the rod locker right there in the middle. This one does not. Some of the other models have this side come out a little farther, and this is a rod locker, which I thought this was going to be that way. It turns out it's not, which is no big deal. But so the other side over there, it does not go all the way through. It's just a square box. This one, I don't know if you can see, it goes up through the front of the boat up there. So I'm probably going to mount the battery and the black box and stuff right here and just get this stuff out of the way, and so I can run my cables up through there. I'm gonna come out somewhere up here. I could drill a hole right here and use that grommet to come out and put my stand right there, or the grommet to come with it, and not even worry about the wire vent. Or I could drill a hole through one side or the other of the plywood and use the wire vent. I don't know what we're gonna do. I may just send the wire vent back if I can end up putting it here. We'll decide that in a minute. So let me read through that book and figure out exactly how we're gonna do it. I'm almost certain I'm gonna mount the box in here on the side of this right there and run the wires up through the front though. The other thing the crappy version came with is an extra like seat pedestal thing there in the floor, which I don't really like. And then it comes with two more on the side, which is okay. I guess you could fit two people up here. That's no big deal. And then the deck here sits just a hair lower than the TXW. Not much, probably half the distance is the TXW. TXW probably sits about halfway, but. All right, really the first thing it says, it just mentions some tools and stuff, what you need, and there's a big bag of parts, what you're going to use, labeled depending on which one mount you're going to use. I'm using the perspective mode, which mounts on the shaft and goes forward, down, and perspective. So really just need to read all this. It talks about a ferrite bead to put on there, where to put it, the orientation to mount this. It says the slant needs to be orient the wide end of the slant up at the top. So just goes through all that, and then the parts are labeled like this. So we're going to go through that real quick and get this put together to mount right here on the trolling motor shaft. It says mount as far away from the motor as possible. The thing is, I don't think the shaft is super long, so it may have to be, I'm going to try to mount it about 10 inches below the water line, whatever that is. I may have to do some adjusting when we get it on the water. All right, so that's the orientation you can see here. Then it goes, gives you a little picture diagram. So I'm about to go off that, and it just says if your shaft is less than 1 inch diameter, which mine is not. I don't believe you can wrap this around the shaft first before you put your clamp here. I just got it loose so I can tighten it all down in a second. But I don't need that. But I'm gonna hold on to it just in case I need it later. You never know, if I get another trolling motor, I might need it for that. So this is what the mount should look like on the front of your motor. It's got these, or your trolling motor's got these notches here, and then notches on this side. So obviously with your knob on the front of the motor here, if you have it flipped up this way, and in the back notch, that's forward mode. You put it in the front notch, that would be down mode. And then you loosen this up to flip it straight down, and then adjust this to get it in a perspective view. But I'm going to be running it mostly in forward for right now, or at least that's what I'm going to start off with. So I just got it about 10 inches, 9 or 10 inches above the barrel here for now. We'll see where the water line is and adjust it from there. But it says not to use zip ties on this too tightly. You can use them as long as you keep them loose. It recommends electrical tape. You put zip ties on here too tight, it can pinch the wires in there. So what I'm going to do, especially just for right now, until I figure out where exactly the height is going to be, just go, get some electrical tape and tape it. And it says secure it both below and above where it swivels, and leave, I think it said, a 10-inch loop or something like that. I have to go back and look. But anyway, you fasten it here, leave enough slack, and fasten at the top so it can rotate all the way around without kinking the wire here. And of course, make sure it doesn't hit the prop. And we come up here to where you're going to be going through the hole and to your black box, the module it calls it. So I'm going to just, like I said, I'll get it mounted here where it swivels, and I can pull it up and all that without it hitting anything. But I'm going to leave the coil here for a minute till we get it, figure out where my hole is going to be. I'll move on to mounting the black box and figure out where I'm going to put it first before we run the wires. So what I got going now, I'm probably going to pull the boat into the shop so y'all can see with some better lighting. But what I got here, I pulled this off the side over here. This little compartment, I don't know if y'all can see, but this little compartment is kind of closed in except for the side over there. There's like a hole that goes through, or I say goes through, it just meets the edge of the, it's enclosed, but it meets the edge of the decking where it meets up under there. And it's kind of like this right here that just goes under. So what I got, my fish tape running through here, and just some paracord tie. We're gonna run it through here. Then my fish tape through there, or this side to, pull it on. Well, this side I have to pull it on through so I can run my cord down for my black box. And what I'm gonna do is just drill a hole, I guess, in the center right there, and just come through. And I got, like I said, one of those grommets I can use, drill a hole here and use one of them cable vents to come on out right here, but then the wire have to turn and go up this way. So I don't know, I'm probably gonna just put it right there in that carbon fiber plastic piece, whatever it is. All right, so the instructions say to not run it close to some electrical lines because it could cause interference with the transducer and all that stuff for the transducer wire. So I want to drill it through here, but that runs right next to the power wire for the trolling motor. I wish this, stuff maybe was over there, but anyway, so to try to avoid running right next to that, I'm going to put one of these wire vents just like right over here, straight sideways like that. Just I would put it down, but I don't want my wire when it comes up and out kinking too much. So we're gonna put it sideways right here, just come out and run straight, basically right there. So it turns out this little section here is aluminum. It's just the decking here, this wood. So drilled it out with a step bit for this to fit in there. And then we'll put this cover over it like that. Took a Dremel, deburred it up in there, and a little sandpaper on my finger, it smoothed it out pretty good so it don't cut the wire in there or anything. And yeah, so I'm trying to get the vacuum shavings out kind of from in there best I can. And then we'll get it all ran, put this back on. So it's the next day. I didn't feel like working on it anymore last night, but so about to go to the store and get some bolts. They come with some screws. There's no washers to even hold it on. So I'm going to get some stainless bolts to bolt this on. I need to find somewhere to fasten the battery down. This is a freaking live well because it's the crappy version. I guess they want 2 live wells. So I can't screw in here. I can't screw past about right here because the live well runs right up under here. So, put it right here. Well, okay, well then where's my cutoff switch gonna mount? Because again, I can't get too far over here. Because originally I was just gonna run a couple eye bolts through and just hook that on there and just run a bungee around it to hold it. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing is getting a battery tray with a strap that comes over the top, over the top here, and just screwing down in the bottom right here, kind of like where these screws are, somewhere right here, so it's not over in the live well. Thought about drilling a hole through and just mounting it in there where it's a little bit bigger box here. You can see how far it goes back. But then the freaking cable they give you, you can order a longer one, but it's like 75 bucks. But it's just barely long enough to go from here over in here. And even then, that mount is telescoping or whatever to raise it up. You'll end up using all your slack up, so you can't go way up with it. It's why the heck they only give you a little 6-foot cable? I don't know. They should give you at least a 10-foot. If they gave you a 10-foot cable, it would be just fine. You could use whatever. And if you wanted to run the battery to the back of the boat, you would have to buy the longer one anyway. But even the one they supply, even way up here, is barely long enough. That's what gripes me about that. I'm gonna go get some bolts. We're gonna go ahead and bolt this up. Oh, up here, I forgot. When you're deploying your trolling motor and all that, to keep the wire from getting slammed on it, you got to kind of keep it over here out of the way. So I got these. I've had these already, some bigger ones and some smaller ones. These are like insulated cable hold downs. These fit just right. I can put over here, fasten down, and come right here and fasten one down, because it'll clear the well, I don't know if this will clear the underside. I may have to go right outside of it, and one over here. But anyway, it'll clear this, the wire will clear under that right there. So that's fine. All right, so far I put these here, and so it kind of holds it nice and neat up here. When you deploy it out like that, got just a little slack run over here. And these, it's not too tight. You can actually move these in and out. It's just a snug fit because of the rubber on the rubber. But it slides in. Got this grommet. It actually had a little, I marked it off 3/8, but it actually had a kind of cut spot in there. I just cut it out, so it's a little looser, but if you need slack, you can get it, so that's fine. Put a little silicone or something in there that'll hold that. So anyway, when it's deployed, good slack. When it's up, it's just got a little loop there on the side like you saw, which is good. So I think we're good right here with that. And that's out of the way of the trolling motor. So now that's finished up. We just got to finish mounting this stuff in here. So I'll go ahead and show you this part real quick, even though we ain't got to mounting this yet. Still got the box and stuff, battery all hooked up. But so this one's obviously the power, which is this one right here. It's got the 4-pin, it's got the yellow fuse power to the display. And then this is like for the regular transducer here, which I'm not using. I guess it gave you the adapter here for that if you have that transducer, but I'm not running that one. This is a network cable, so like if you, which it does come with that, like if you have a Garmin at your console, but I have a Lowrance, so I'm not using that connector to network together. This one is some other kind of network cable, I'm not using it. And then this one, like I said, other than the power, this is the one we're using, which goes to the black box. So it has this one, which is really short. It needs to be longer. It's only 6. And then this one, which is like an adapter cable. So it goes into one of the networks. It goes on there. And then you plug it into this that goes to the black box. So if you're on, this is a dedicated Livescope. If you have the other transducer also, you would use this one here, but just for Livescope. And if you went to another unit, network to another unit, you would also use that one. But this just for Livescope, just these two, the power to the unit and this one that goes to the black box, and that's it. And then the black box over there has the 3. It has the transducer one, power one, which is this one with the black fuse and the block on there, and then the one plug for the network, or the blue, this blue connector here. So there's 3 out of the black box and 2 out of your display screen here, just for Livescope LVS 34, the newer one. The old Panoptix one, I think they had another one right here or something. But anyway, so we got this mounted here. I mounted it up because one, all the connectors are threaded down on there, so it's not gonna get any moisture on it anyway, except for maybe around the nut, but it should be good. It's under a compartment, so And to get connectors on and off and stuff, you'd have to unbolt it every time. I didn't want to do that, so we just mounted it up like this. So we're going to come off of that and run under there. Y'all excuse the rain, it's really loud and thunder and stuff, but we took an old battery box out of an old boat and cut it down, cut the top off a little bit, trimmed down the foam that the battery came with. So we're gonna put that down in there, put the battery there, and we'll have just enough room to cut the bolts off that go to this and bolt it on the side, because we'll have just enough room in there on the side. So what we'll do is mount the battery right here and probably mount this cutoff switch on the side of the box and then go from there to here. I mean, we could bolt it through there, but rather than drilling through the boat, we'll just drill through this plastic here, just for on off switch right there. Yeah, I drilled the 2 holes there and put them grommets in there, but this ain't long enough, so we're gonna, and I can't fit it through there either way, either end. We're gonna snip it right here, just splice a piece of this marine wire I got here on there, run my fish tape and I'll pull it back through here, and then splice the fuse back here next to the battery so we can change it out if it gets blown, because otherwise it'd be up in here in the middle somewhere. So that's what we're about to do here. And then the network cable will fit straight through that one, should, so that's what we'll go through with that and screw it back down. All right, so got our network cable coming through here, power cable coming through here. Our splice is way up there, so anyway, we'll come through, and we got a hook. I got a Velcro strap. We notched this out, and on the front here too, so I can just put the when I put the battery in there, you loop it over and Velcro it and hold it down. And then this, of course, like I said, mount on the side of the box here, and get this mount screwed up here. I'll drill the holes for that, get it screwed down. So put this together, about to mount the display bracket on here, and mount this here. And you could, if you wanted to, just mount this part directly to the base here and have it swivel, you know, adjustable right here on this, you know, this high up instead of that high up. But anyway, like I said, I'm tall, so I'm going to leave it at the top. One thing though, it doesn't come with any mounting screws. Like, it comes with all the pieces it needs except for screws to mount it to the deck. These came with this unit. I'm not going to be using these screws, so what I'm going to do is just probably use them screws that came with that to put in here. So see how that goes. They don't really even need to be that long, but yeah, we're going to use those right there just to mount this down. And tomorrow we'll have to go get a few bolts to just a little short, like 1-inch stainless bolts for this here. So this is installed. These screws that came with this mount worked out great, and I didn't have to use the washer. So tomorrow all I have to do is get the stainless bolts and the nuts, and you can use these washers. For up here, they worked out great down here, and there's really nothing in this running in this area here. There is a wire down there, but it's running along the bottom, which is, you know, down here. So those are good, nice and sturdy. Tighten that up a little bit. Anyway, I mean, you can move the boat with it, so it's good. It swivels 180, so this bottom T-handle is already in here, and it just swivels however you want it. That way, and then this one, obviously, you tilt this bottom part up and down, and then the top one here does this one, and the middle one does the telescoping. But it gives good instructions. The only thing it doesn't say is which T-handle goes where, and the washers are all the same. It doesn't mention the washer really, but it shows a picture. Of course, you put the washer under each T-handle. But so there's three. There's a really short one, which is the middle one. It just goes into this block that slides up and down in here. They have two long ones, the top one and the bottom one. They're both long, but the top one, there's one that's a little bit shorter. It's like a 1/4 inch shorter or so, and that's going to go on top. So we don't have a lot sticking out here. The bottom one here is the longer one, and it has the same distance. You don't tighten the lock nut all the way up. You just put it on a little bit so that you can loosen this and adjust it and tighten it back. That just keeps it from falling out, or, you know, from this from falling out. So there's that. Millennium Marine. It worked out really good. Shout out to them. That looks like a pretty professional install right there so far. But I'm gonna mount it like this with the off to the right here, and then down is on where the battery picture here is facing up. So these little tabs here slide out, as you can see right here, and they slide back in. And you just, you tie your hot to one side and then come off the other side up to the battery. So what I'm gonna do is tie these to one side and then come off the other side or through the bottom. I'm gonna come up from the bottom with the power wire from this and my display up there on this side from the bottom, and then on the top here, come out to the battery post, which is be right here on this side. So yeah. All right, I got my old homemade battery box finished up. You can buy a battery tray, but I already had it, so I figured more I might use it. Got it strapped down, so all I gotta do is put my stuff on there. And then this here, once I get my wires hooked, I mount it on the bolts that I got through here, and it'll hold just fine. So just got to get that hooked up first. Oh, also I'll mention the ferrite bead. So this, I put some braided wire loom here, because up in here, it goes up in there. I don't want this a really sharp turn, try to keep it as rounded as possible. So I'm gonna run this kind of over in there. So I can't put it right up next to the connector because of the bend and that right there. So I'm just gonna come right here, just in front of it. It says install this as close to the connector as you can. And I'd say that right there is pretty darn close to the connector, so this should be okay. But the ferrite bead, it helps with interference and whatnot, it's supposed to. So we're gonna put that on and then just put this little zip tie around it just to make sure it doesn't come unclipped. There's a ground, obviously there's a power ground or whatever, but there's a ground here also that came with a connector and a screw to go in there. And that is like your earth ground, water ground, whatever, chassis ground, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not going to run that unless I get interference. If it's working fine, no interference, I'm just going to run it. If I get some interference, I'll come back and run that to the ground. It's supposed to be chassis ground, water ground, whatever. And I got a fuse panel over there. But the problem is getting the wire over there. So, and a lot of people just jump it to the ground. It's all the same anyway. Like on a car, if you run the ground to the chassis, it's grounded to the battery negative anyway. So it's all the same. So I'm just going to jump it over here to the battery negative if I need it. But that's only if I get some interference. So for right now, we're just going to leave that off. This piece also has one right there, but it did not come with a screw for that. So that's kind of jacked up, or a terminal. I ain't worried about the terminal, really, just the screw, because it's a really small screw, dude. It's like a M4 and metric. And I got this mounted here, so we're about to just put the unit on there, and it's got these little covers that go over those. They just hang out, so if you need them, if you take it off, you can put them back over there. If you leave your unit on, don't worry about it. I'll probably just find somewhere to, I may just put a piece of tape on there just to hold that or something till when I'm using it and they're just dangling down. And I put my network cable on this side instead of this side, just so it had a little more slack in the line here. So yeah, to release, I know you squeeze this little button here on the back and pop it out, and then so it kind of's got this hook on there, and you hook it into the bottom. Just hook it on there like that, and then put that in there and just lock it down, and it's locked in now. And then, like I said, to release, you push that in, pop it up, and then it comes out like so. And then you got your cover here, and all it does is just kind of snap over the side right there, and then pull it off. You pull it right there, but like I said, it just snaps in. And anyway, so that looks like a good professional installation there. All right, y'all, we got her all finished up with the wiring here. That's where I keep my net, my paddle, my nav lights and stuff in there. So we'll get that, just leave it like it is here. This, for shipping purposes, only comes like 30 to 50% charge. So it says charge it up first before you use it. So all I gotta do is hook my negatives there, and my positive here. and it's good. And it does mention to wrap some electrical tape around them, around the terminals and all that stuff. So that's what I did. All the connectors, whatever in here. And this inline fuse, like this one comes with a blade, and then the other one, the display comes with this, I forgot what you call these, the glass style ones. So later down the road, I may swap that out. I have another one of these. And this is the charger I got to do it, to charge it with. It does multiple type batteries, but I got it because it does the lithiums. So yeah, and it recommends on that battery to charge it at like 10 amps. It takes about 5 hours, it says, to fully charge it. But yeah, so that's all we got left for that. I'm gonna come back. This is temporary. I have some wider tape to tape this up, you know, more permanently. As long as this is right, like it's supposed to be, you know, where I want it at, then I'll come back and wrap this tape around multiple places and get it good and secure. But that's just temporarily for now. All right, guys, got it finished charging up. This old charger works pretty good. I'll do either a review video or like a YouTube short on it or something, show you how it works. It works pretty good. It took about almost 3 hours to fully charge it. And this battery's, you know, it's got these little caps just so you don't arc off or anything, I guess. Just put those on there. So what we're gonna do is cut the switch on and power it up. We'll see what the color of the light is on the black box here, and then we'll get up there and see, power that on just to see. And I don't know if it's kind of like so like with my Lowrance, it said if you pull your transducer out of the water, you should stop the sonar first and then pull it up, move to where you're going, put it back in, or I guess you could put it on standby mode or whatever, you know what I mean. There's a sonar stop on that one. I'm not sure if there's a sonar stop on this one, or like how it's going to be with it out of the water, which this one now is on the back of the boat back here. It'll be in the water all the time, but I'm not sure how that one will be up and out. I know you're supposed to put it on standby when you pull it out, so I don't know. We'll see how that does, but let me cut this bad boy on here, see. I turn it on and the status light blinked red. It just blinked one time red and I don't see any light. There it goes, solid red. So that means we have a problem somewhere. Let me look up and see what that means real quick. Just kidding. So it was solid red for a second. It blinked red one time and then it went to blinking green. And I know the book says flashing green is what it's supposed to do. So good, we're good to go then. Flashing green. Yeah, so if you install this yourself and it blinks or stays red for a second, or about 30 seconds now before it starts flashing green, don't worry, just let it, give it a little bit and it should start flashing green. If it blinks red multiple times or whatever, then you might have a problem. But anyway, so we're good here. Good to go. All right, so let me hop up here, put my screwdriver up, hop up here. We'll cut this on and see how it does. All right, let's just power this bad boy on. See what we got here. Oh, well, shoot, it's already on. Okay, go through the setup here. My stupid self, I meant to put this plate this way instead of up, slightly longer this way. I meant to do it this way so that I could swivel it in or out instead of basically just all the way that way or out this way or this way. I could, if I would have put the plate left and right, I could do it left or straight or out this way, and I could have angled it in. My stupid self put it the wrong way. But what I could do is just basically use the same bolt pattern, just flip it all the way around and it'll swivel in. I can keep it angled in this way. But if you get this, just know, pay attention to the way you mount it for the swivel 180. This little setup, United States, English. So I'm gonna leave store demo mode off for just right now. We can turn it on later. Select OK to quickly set up. Anything you set up, it says select OK to quickly set up. Anything you set up now can be changed or refined later by selecting global settings. Okay. So power boat, minimum safe depth. I guess 3 foot, because this boat will go in 3 foot. Of course, you want to trim up the motor, but shallow water alarm, yeah, we'll do that just to let me know. Overhead clean, we'll do 10 foot. Sorry for the glare, guys. We'll do 10 foot because, this boat's pretty low. So we'll just do 10 foot. Download the active captain map. Access your charts anywhere. Wireless receive, install software updates from your mobile phone directly to your display. So you got nav chart, fishing chart, and 3D chart. And then 3D, that's cool with 3D. So if you're driving down, driving or you're going to your spot, you can put it on that. I already have the Lowrance. I don't have, they can't link, so that's cool. This is just dedicated Livescope. So that's cool right here. It says everywhere that's shallow, it tells you shallow up through here. And of course gives you your depths and shows your channel, which this isn't for navigation, but if I see something on here I want to fish, I can pick it on the map and then go back to my Lowrance and just put it in there because I recognize the lake, just off the picture of it. So that's fine. And like we got a shallow point here. It's 3 foot out here, then it goes out to 11. And later on, I may upgrade to console fish finder. I may upgrade to like a smaller, like a 7-inch, Echomap or whatever, Echomap, however they pronounce it. Okay, so over here, it's got some flooded timber put in here, that's cool. So it shows some stuff like that on here already. Shows you shallow, shows you flooded timber. This is Wedowee is a local lake to me. It's a little bit of a drive, but not too far. So that's, there's a couple of lakes about the same distance from here. Let's go. See, you got layers, chart my vessel, whatever, tides, currents, points of interest. I'm not going to show you all this stuff. I'm just kind of zooming through it real quick. Then we'll pull up the Livescope and just kind of see, or I may go to demo mode. Let me look through some of this stuff. If I see anything interesting, I'll point it out. And we'll go through like a demo mode for the Livescope. And then, so it's got an owner's manual on the unit. So if you need to look something up, you can just pull it up on here. I thought that was cool too. All right, so there's some different stuff you can do on there. I was just searching through the settings. But basically, from your map or whatever, go home. And then you can go to like your sonar and pick which one, clear view, which I don't have the regular transducer mounted, so I can't use traditional clear view and all that, front view, all that stuff. The only thing I have on here is the Livescope and perspective transducer. So I can go Livescope and then I can do perspective, swap it around in perspective mode. So you set Livescope, also home, you have combo. So you can do split screen, wherever like this, you can put your map here, and then like say your regular fishing map here, and then your navigation on one side if you're just trolling up to the next spot, or whatever, Livescope, and then it pulls this up and then you're good to go. Like when you're on Livescope right here, so you hit Livescope, you hit home and then go to settings, system, you can hit simulator on and off. Right now it's on. So we're set up. So right now simulator's on. I'm just gonna adjust some settings real quick. So on here, it's all on auto. Basically the depth, you can change out your tap auto or tap it again to adjust your gain here. See, if you tap that, it'll be on auto. If you tap it again, it'll be on manual. So I'm gonna run about 68 on my gain. I'm sorry for the glare, guys. Again, I can't help the light here, but I'm gonna run 68 on my gain. Your distance out right here. So I'm gonna run 100 foot on my depth out. It's like casting depth. So 95 is like 95 is out here. Okay, so, all right, there we go. So right here's your gain. Tap that to do manual, keep it on 68. Right here is your distance out in front of you. Do manual. I'm gonna do 100 foot. I may just leave it do 90 for now, 90 or 100 foot, unless I'm up real close, then I can back it down. But this, I'll probably always be adjusting this depending on how far I am from my target area where I'm casting. If I'm close, I'll bump it down. If I'm, farther off, I'll turn it up. Now this is your depth, how deep the water is. So whatever the water is, I'm gonna run it about 10 to 20 foot deeper on my setting here. Let me get, there we go, some glare off. So let's just say the bottom here is like 65 foot. I'll run it to about 85. I'm gonna do about 20 foot deeper. So make it about 85 when it's really only 65. That way it kind of, from what I know, it kind of boosts your I forgot what it's called, but anyway, that's a good setting there. If you hit the little menu button thing here and then go to sonar setup, that goes to, and then you can do appearance. That does your color scheme. I want to stick with amber for right now. Color gain. Color gain, I'm going to run to 80. Color limit, I'm going to do about 20. Not going to mess with that. And bottom fill, I'm just going to leave that too. So go to noise rejection. It's on medium. I'm going to leave it on medium. TVG, I'm going to run TVG on low. On ghost reject, I'm going to leave ghost reject off for now. I may go up to low later, but I'm going to start on off. We're going to start on off for now. I may adjust, it does the ghost tree stuff. I may adjust that later. Focus is auto. We're going to run on auto fresh there. Install depth, we're going to run that on 030. So 030. Done. The reverse range, I don't see reverse range on here. For now, that's what we're gonna run on my settings. I had some basic settings that some guys I know gave me some basic stuff that works pretty good. So I'm gonna use it as a starting point. I'm gonna test it in a couple of days on the lake. Once we get there, see, look on this demo, we see fish swimming around, but those stacked up that high, those are probably not bass. All right, so the only thing we got to do now, when I get out on the lake in a few days to test it out, is turn demo mode off. Obviously, when I get in the water, I'll turn demo mode off. And I'll put the transducer down in the water, turn demo mode off, go from there. And then also, one other thing I have to do, really the last thing as far as setup, other than turning demo mode off, is calibrate my compass. You get out there and you hit right there. Yeah, calibrate compass. You see, you hit calibrate compass and it'll give you some instructions and, you know, troll and circle or whatever. I don't know exactly how it does it, but it'll give you instructions and calibrate your compass. So there you go. That's it right there, guys, for the Livescope here. Just going to power this thing off, turn off. It was on auto power up. I turned that off. I don't want it powering up automatically. I want to just hit the button to turn it on. All right, so now we're going to cut this off because, well, I turned off the unit. So now the light's not flat. I guess it recognized that it's off. From what I hear, if you don't cut the switch off, your black box will drain your battery. I'm not sure because, again, my light's not flashing anymore since I turned the unit off. But cut the switch off to make sure that that's off. And yeah, that's going to conclude my Livescope install here. And once I get it test of it on the water, I may do another video later, but like I said, this is just the install video. So there we go. That's how I chose to set mine up and install it for this bass tracker, Protein 175, the crappy version, or TF, whatever. So that's it, guys. That's gonna wrap this one up.